Bah. Hello. Day 16. I've been streaming for 16 days minus 2 days. Well, I've been streaming for 16 days. Could have been 18, but I had stuff to do. Yay. Yay. I'm gonna play some more spooky game. Hopefully it gets spooky. It's been economics and family trauma recently, so maybe it'll get spooky. It'll be my Halloween gift as it gets spooky. I'm sleepy. That's okay. Sorry, I was AFK. It's okay. Hi. It's good to see you. Hi, Knights. Yeah, we poppin'. Ah. I should dye my hair red again in IRL. Excuse me. This is like pretty close to what I would actually look like at one point, well, a few points in my life. But I don't dye my hair anymore because it's expensive. My hair almost died and I'm lazy. The maintenance was hard. But yeah, I had it like kind of like this color red. Yeah. It's like I learned how to do my own hair, and that cut down on costs, because at first I didn't know how to do my own hair. And so I would go to like salons with my mom. But I had to pick whatever colors she was down for, and then I went to salons when I actually was like in a pretty okay financial situation, and I realized it was quite expensive. But I got to pick the color I wanted, and then I was just like, what if I just did it myself? And I started doing it myself, and you know, hit or miss on if it worked, but a majority of the time it was good. And now, but I did it so much because I was so into it that I completely just like fried my head, like, because I wanted that like red, and I have kind of like a darkerish brown hair, so I had to bleach first and then dye, and so I super fried my hair really bad. It was to the point where it was like that soft texture that's like it could fall out at any moment. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna grow this out, cut it away, and just leave it alone for a while. And actually, I haven't dyed my hair in like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. It's finally all actually normal. All valid reasons. People talk about salons as if it's going to see the doctor. There are so many clueless salon people. For real. I've had my hair ruined by so many like salon people. It's insane. I use free dye for my hair to turn it gray. I do it slowly though. Wow. Me too. All the stress recently has actually given me a couple of gray hairs. Surprisingly. Bloody red, mwahaha. Oh yes, dead straw, yes. Yeah, I do have blue eyes IRL, so I like the contrast. Like, I like the way the very, very red hair, like appley, blood red hair looked against my, my fair complexion and my blue eyes. I was like, yes, this is peak. Yeah. You two didn't start going gray at 18, lucky me. I started at 31, I think. Like, everyone kept carding me multiple times for various reasons, or thinking that I couldn't belong places because I looked young. And then, like, I don't know, I was like 29 to 31, people were starting to be like, I could believe that you are an adult now. And I'm like, oh, cool, sick, this is perfect. And then at 31 to 34, it was like, nope, we all think you're crazy old. Here's some gray hair. Got my first gray 5 years ago. Oh, wow. Lagasp, are youthful, vibrant, Kifés in her 20s? No. I'm a hag. I'm a hag. I don't mind saying it, I don't care. I'm basically just about the same age as, like, my Yoshi. I'm actually a little bit older than her. So, you know what? I'm cool with it. Same girl, hag is the new brat, for real. For real. I have a mentality of a young lady, so I'll take it, you know? My body's just not agreeing with me. I'm pretty sure those grays came from stress. They'll go away. I think. Same, yeah. Yeah, no. I might go back to dyeing my hair, I don't know. If I get the time and I have a little bit of money that I can just put towards something, I might give it a go again. But I'm kind of happy with my hair right now. It's actually like I used to have it very short because of my condition. If it like flew and hit me in the face, it would actually like kind of trigger it, if that makes sense. So I kept it like super short. But then I was just like, I'm gonna try growing it out because this is a pain in the ass to cut every like couple weeks. Because I would cut it myself, which I got really good at. Now I just wolf cut my hair really quick, but it's like ponytail length all over still. Yeah, it's actually the longest it's been in like, oh, 5 years? 6 years? Like it's almost to like my, is it like, it's to my collarbone. Collarbone? No, it's a little bit past, it's about an inch past my collarbone now, which is pretty long for me because I had it like literally like pixie cut. I recommend color depositing conditioner. I can link you good stuff that I use. Very healthy but a bit expensive. I used to use overtone, but like again, like I was kind of crazy though, because I was like I need to bleach my hair because otherwise it's not the color I want. And that in itself was what was frying my hair, because I moved to overtone, and then there was another brand that I was using that's like a conditioner style one, and I was using that to try and like continue the method without damaging it as much, but just bleaching my hair, I killed it. I think I asked a long time ago and we briefly discussed allergens, but I don't know. I don't have, like, I have food allergies. I don't have a lot of like irritants for like skin and stuff. Like that should be fine. Well, luckily I like all greens, so they be emerald or mint or forest. I'm happy if my hair is green at all. That's fair. I got to a point where I was like, I'll go dark, but the thing is like, because of the color of my hair, it almost looked black, and that's not what I wanted. I didn't want it to look black, like I wanted it to look like the color I was going for. But then I kind of went crazy, and instead of just like letting my hair be like that natural-ish orangey red color and then just putting red on top of it like a normal fucking person, I decided that it's not enough, and I went full-on blonde, and then put the red in to really bring home that appley kind of red color. That was crazy. That was crazy. I was like, I need this. And at the time, I guess I did, but like, I don't know. Now it's like a fun memory. I might go back to it. We'll see. You know, I didn't mind the blonde either, now that I think about it. There was times where I just rocked the blonde. Maybe that was it. If it died out, like if it washed out, I'd be okay with the color underneath. That has to be it, yeah. Get theatrical bloody contact lenses and go full yandere? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Just be like... I can't wear contacts, unfortunately. I would do so much. I would do so much if I could wear contacts. Like, you don't even know. I would rock some contacts. Make the family at home nervous laugh. Yes. No, I would. I tried once. I have a what's that called? Stigma? Whatever. I have a thing in my eye. I can't put the contacts in. But they are cool. On to Vampire Survivors. Enjoy your Vampire Survivors. Enjoy. Alright. I'm dead tired though. Just casual Discord gaming? That's valid. Enjoy your casual time. Casual is good. I'm basically doing casual. This is gonna be purely a casual little storytelling sesh. So, I feel that. I don't think this game has any selections to make. Yes, casual. This game is casual. Look, there's less for me to do, is what I mean. Like, I don't have to be a pro gamer to play this. I just have to have a sound mind. I almost kind of want to, pardon me adjusting this, but I want to make it big enough that I can read it well. There we go. Must need casually. Keep your lunch down. That's crazy. Quite an entertaining scheme. Well then, what are the conditions they've attached? I don't even know who's talking, to be honest. I like closed it and I'm gonna use my normal voice. Well, whether or not Kraus actually discovers the gold, he'll pay Eva, Rudolph, and Rosa a total of 7.5 billion yen for their shares. However, 10% of that will be paid before March. Oh, he finds that funny. Kraus, you dunce. To think he would have his feet swept out from under him by his younger siblings. How truly amusing. But it sounds as though they've tripped when going in for the kill, yeah? Yes. Kraus exposed the fact that Eva and the younger siblings all have an urgent need to get money. Is there even any need to expose such obvious facts? That Irresolute, incompetent man. What are they doing now? That conversation has been put on hold for the time being. Now, Beatrice's epitaph is being discussed. Epitaph. So they're trying to solve the riddle and find out where my gold is hidden? Yes. Kenzo set down his spectacles and snorted. Will the miracle be fulfilled first, or will those fools expose the gold first? What a show this will be. At the very moment those fools solve my puzzle, I will suffer utter defeat. They can suck my corpse down to the last fragment of bone. The greed of fools can allow great magic to bring forth a miracle. And yet, if the fulfillment of the miracle comes first, if it comes first, Beatrice will be resurrected again. The smile I have been chasing half my life will be restored. Oh, Beatrice! Soon will come the sacred night when we shall bet upon a miracle, and the game of demons shall begin. I will surely prove triumphant and survive. I'll let you have the lives of all those others. I don't need wealth or honor or assets or gold or anything. All I want is to see your smile one last time. He said, fuck the family. I want that lovely lady. Kinzo choked, apparently in great pain. Cannon got closer and tried to pat his master's back, but Kinzo motioned for him to stop. Do you know why I went to the trouble of exposing the hidden location of the gold in a place that everyone can see? No. It is because magical power is determined by risk. If the number of people who try to discover Beatrice's gold is great, and the danger of them succeeding is great as well, then the power of magic will bring about a grand miracle if we succeed despite the odds. In other words, magic is a game. It's not the case that the one who performs the best becomes the victor. The victor performs the best because he has been granted magic. Do you see? It is similar to how the miracle of life can be granted only after winning against the divine odds of several 100 million to 1. Is this a little difficult for you? My apologies. That's fine. It all comes down to this. I will give all that I have built up to the one who solves the mystery of Beatrice's epitaph. Wealth, honor, gold, and the inheritance of the Oshiromiya family. Everything that I have established. My children certainly aren't the only ones with the right to attempt to solve this riddle. Anyone who solves the riddle will have the right to gain everything, even you. Yes, however, I couldn't possibly understand such a difficult riddle. Of course, I made it difficult, but you must try to solve it as well. That will form the seed that summons the miracle of my magic. If everyone attempts it and everyone fails, that will be that. However, if the miracle comes together and gives birth to magical power, it will happen. Beatrice will revive. That is why you must attempt it too. Everyone must attempt it. And so in doing, they will give strength to my magic. Do you understand? Yes, I will try. For a long while, Kinzo repeatedly muttered to himself, agitated and clutching at his head. Cannon stayed where he was, alert and unmoving, until he was given the next order from his master. Kinzo eventually realized this. Very well, leave me. There's a bag of sweets on the liquor cabinet. You can take some with you as a reward. I'm fine. After all, I am furniture. So furniture doesn't eat sweets? Well, I suppose it stands to reason. In that case, leave me. Yes, excuse me. Cannon bowed and left the study. As the door closed, a heavy locking noise sounded out. But it was not the sound of Cannon locking the door. It was the door locking automatically. No one could enter without Kinzo's permission, and once they left, they could not enter again. It was a mechanism that Kinzo, unable to trust his blood relatives, had created to seal himself up in his own study and isolate himself from the outside world. He was already unable to trust anyone excepting not the children who shared his blood, but those servants who called themselves furniture. Wow. Nanjo, how are you feeling? Ah, Genji. Oh, it's just that there's no place for me to be anymore. With a bitter laugh, Nanjo turned to face the door to the parlor. That look was apparently enough to tell Genji what Nanjo wanted to say. For the most part, Genji also understood the family situation. It must have made him want to frown, knowing that right now in the lounge, the master he served was being discussed so disrespectfully. But it would have been very difficult to gather that from his indifferent expression. Still, I don't understand. Why did Kinzo have something so provocative written, I wonder? Nanjo looked at the portrait of Beatrice. No, he actually directed his gaze beneath the portrait, the plate with the epitaph. I do not presume to understand the master's thoughts. However, I'm sure he had a deep reason for doing so. Since long ago, when Kinzo played chess, he would always prepare his moves according to some far-reached judgment. Yes, sometimes even to make moves I couldn't understand. For an average person like me, it was impossible to see through to whatever it was he was planning. Sometimes I wonder if that might be the kind of... Sometimes I wonder if this might be the kind of will in the master's eyes. Perhaps he wishes to hand over his wealth, entitled to the one who can understand it. I don't like that they don't put who's talking. I kind of have to guess. It's like the people are here, but... So you're thinking he may have wanted the 4 siblings to work together and solve the riddle, before some outsiders like myself solved it. Kinzo may speak of his children in insulting terms, but perhaps he also wants them to repair their relationship. It certainly would be heartwarming if, as Nanjo had suggested, this epitaph had been made to repair the siblings' relationship. However, both Nanjo and Genji knew that nothing could be more impossible than this. They'd known Kinzo longer than anyone, and Kinzo trusted them more than his own relatives. But even they could not guess at his true motives. The master always says that everyone has the right to try and solve the riddle, even if they aren't a member of his family. What about you, Dr. Nanjo? No, it's a little too difficult a puzzle for this senile old man. Actually, I once wrote this epitaph down on my notebook. Night after night, I would try to solve it before going to sleep. But it really is hard. It looks like we might have some free time to relax and consider it before someone comes to get us. What do you say, Genji? I am nothing more than furniture in service to the master. Gold and assets are unnecessary to me. My, you're very modest. I imagine that's why Kinzo trusts you so much. If so, I am honored. As Nanjo lightly laughed in response, he once again looked at the epitaph. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. The epitaph on the portrait, called My Beloved Witch Beatrice, goes as followed. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the golden land. The one who obtains the key must then travel to the golden land in accordance with these rules. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth night, gouge the head and kill. On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, a journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the golden land's treasure, once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the golden land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice. Oh. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, Beatrice. Water. Ah. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. So on the 10th twilight, the journey ends, and you reach the Golden Land. You really are diligent, Maria. You did a good job writing this all down.
Oh, I forget a lot, so I always write down things. Mama told me to.
There was a notebook inside the handbag Maria was always carrying around, and Beatrice's epitaph was copied onto it. Thanks to that, we were able to challenge the puzzle of the epitaph while walking down this beach. Jessica and the rest had already tried to solve it several times, and had already gotten bored with it. However, since this was a first for me, I was so excited that I couldn't stop. It really tickled my sense of adventure. Let's start with the first line. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. Where was grandfather's hometown again? I heard that before the war, the Oshiramiya family had a mansion near Odawara, which makes you want to know which sweet fish river flows through Odawara, right? Yeah, because that river would be the starting place. Anyone searching for the Golden Land would head down that and search for the key. What's this river in Odawara? Does it have sweet fish swimming in it? If you're looking for sweet fish in Odawara, it'd have to be Hayakawa. It's famous for its mountain stream fishing.
Oh, I hate fish.
Damn, that's crazy. Maria, you understand when you get a bit older. Lick, lick, lick salty roasted sweet fish. Yummy. Even though we just ate, I'm getting hungry again.
Shall I bring you a biscuit?
Huh? Oh, sorry, that's not what I meant. I don't mind it. Shannon was faithfully keeping us company since she didn't have any afternoon chores for a while. I would have thought that, since she's a servant, accompanying us would force her to take care of us and tire her out, but that didn't seem to be the case for her. On the contrary, she seemed to enjoy joining in on conversation with people close to her age. When I asked, I heard that she was the sort of worker whose room and board were supplied by her employer. So normally, the only person close to her in age was Jessica. Yeah, I can imagine how that might be pretty dull. Okay, so I get that the sweet fish-filled river near Odawara is in Hayakawa. In that case, we've got to go down it. Did you find anything if you head down Hayakawa River?
If you follow it downstream, you'll arrive at the ocean.
Of course, you'd reach the mouth of the river. And the third line of the epitaph was, as you travel down it, you will see a village. By the way, since long ago, the mouth of rivers have been key points in transportation. Oh. I think it's still her talking.
By the way, since long ago, the mouth of rivers have been key points in transportation, and large cities tend to be built there. That'd be the next checkpoint.
That's a pretty good theory. Just like you guessed, there's an old city there that was very prosperous in ancient times. That's where Odawara Castle is.
I think I might have gone to Odawara Castle on a field trip once. It really was a wonderful castle.
Yeah, I always went there. Even though I live in a Western-style house, it's true that Japanese people feel calmer in a Japanese layout.
Oh, castles are boring. Theme parks are better. Oh.
I see. Okay, if we find the gold, the great battler will generously reserve a whole theme park for a day and let you play in it. Still, Odawara Castle, huh? The hidden gold of Odawara Castle. Oh, it's actually starting to sound pretty good. Well, we figured out that much 2 years ago. The village down the river where the sweet fish swim in Odawara. We figured it was probably somewhere near Odawara Castle. The problem is the next line. Okay, let's see where Battler's strange reasoning can take him. Jessica grinned broadly. She seemed to be implying that she would have solved the puzzle long ago if it was that easy. Damn it. I'll definitely find it and keep it all for myself. The fourth line. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. I don't know what it means by the two, but anyway, the shore. What does it mean by the shore? No, wait. Is there any place near there with shore or kinshi in its name?
I've heard there's a place called Sogakishi in Odawara.
Huh? Wow, you sure know a lot about it. What could that mean? Shannon, are you trying to solve the riddle and get the gold too? That makes us rivals.
It's not like I'm interested in the gold. It's just that George told me about it before.
That's because we reached the same conclusion 2 years ago. We even went to the trouble of laying out a map and looking it up. It was about 5 kilometers to the north of Odawara. We definitely found a place called Sogakishi there. However, after that, we get stuck. The fifth line doesn't say where the key is hidden in that place. Maria, could you read it for us?
Oh, there sleeps the key to the Golden Land. Oh, I could read it.
Sogakishi
Kishi is probably large, and there wasn't ever any house built there by the Ushiromiya family. Not much we can do to find a key in such a vast area without any hints. You're right. And without the key, we can't advance to the next line. George, what kind of place is Soka Kishi? Let's see. I've never been there, so I don't really know, but according to the map, it's in the mountains. I'm pretty sure it was the base of Mount Asama. Something doesn't feel right. You'd expect a riddle pointing the way to hidden gold to be a bit more exact. I get the feeling that even the part about Sogakishi was a mistake. Well, I think it could be Sogakishi. It could be talking about some house that grandfather lived in when he was a kid that we don't know about. After all, the first line mentioned his beloved hometown. Shannon, you served grandfather alcohol and stuff for a lot of times, right? Hasn't he ever talked to you about his past? The master almost never speaks of the past. However, he talks about the Great Kanto earthquake as though it was someone else's story, so he may have been living far away from the Kanto area. The Oshiromiya family may have been living in Odawara, but not all the branch families were. Grandfather often called himself part of a branch of the branch's family, the least connected to the successor. And that means the beloved hometown might not even be Odawara at all. I never heard anything about grandfather's hometown, and I doubt he'd actually tell me if I asked. If the so-called beloved hometown isn't referring to the Oshiromiya family roots, then the Odawara theory is wrong from the beginning. Of course, this doesn't completely remove the possibility that it was Sogakishi. For example, perhaps he lived in Odawara when he was very young, but then moved far away later.
Oh, I don't understand what you're all talking about. Oh.
Maria had been completely left out of the conversation, and she now sat puffing out her cheeks in boredom. Hello, so what's the economic class? So what economics class did I miss? They're trying to solve the riddle by talking about geography now. How are you, Gamazel? Get my blinky on my shoulders. So basically, if we can't even agree on the starting port for this dice game of gold, we're totally stuck. But wait, after the first 5 lines, the thing we end up finding is a key, right? Even if you don't have a key, it's always possible to burst through a door. Can we just skip the first 5 lines and start figuring out the rest? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Oh well, we're just wasting time anyway. Let's hear the rest of Battler's reasoning. Ah, thank you. Oh, thank you. Wait. Oh, Bandivator, I see. Remove. Be gone. Bum 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 bum. Am good. Enjoying my evening by completing Terraria achievements. Very cool. Bruh, what? Why are you bruhing? What's happening? I looked away for 1 second. It's fine. I got it. I took care of it. I gave it the poison. And he shows up. I call scam. For real. But then the next part, it gets dark real fast. Shannon frowned slightly. After looking back to Maria's notebook to recall what was written there, yeah, I was forced to agree. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. It sure does get horrible quickly. On the second twilight, it says to tear apart the 2 who are close. Does that mean to make them break off their loving relationship, or does it mean literally tear them apart? I don't know, but either way, it's pretty disgusting. Even if we set that second line aside, it mentions 6 people for the first twilight, then 5 people for the 4th through 8th twilights. So at least 11 people must be sacrificed.
Ugh. Their sacrifices to revive Beatrice.
I see. Sacrifices to restore the witch. Yeah, that's what it meant. What it mean, sorry. Near the end, the witch will be revived on the 9th twilight. The last part is guaranteed. On the 9th twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. So everyone will die in the end. And after that, the 10th twilight is the goal line. Not sure how you're supposed to reach the golden land if everyone's dead by then. Depending on how you interpret it, the traveler who holds the key may or may not be included in the none shall be left alive part. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. But at the end, there's something pretty interesting. After reaching the goal, the witch gives out 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold. The problem is the next one. It says the dead souls will be resurrected, right? Doesn't that sound like it means everyone who died in the earlier lines? If you put it like that, then the part about reviving lost love might refer to the pair torn apart on the 2nd twilight. That's right. And the 4th one refers to the 9th twilight. The 4th treasure is putting the witch revived on the 9th twilight to sleep. If we put a happy spin on all this, it'll be hectic with people dying and breaking up all over the place, but it'll all be made right in the end. The awakened witch will sleep again and everything will be like it was at the start, except with a huge pile of gold. The witch must be pretty busy, what with all the killing, reviving, breaking up, and reuniting people. Not to mention waking up and sleeping. Sheesh. Just when the tale of the hidden gold was getting interesting, it all gets pretty dubious once the witch starts showing up. True, true. I laugh along with Jessica. After all, the idea of a witch was just too ridiculous. Of course, once we started laughing like that, Maria, who believed in the witch, got angry.
Oh, the witch is incredible. She can do anything with magic. Even kill. Even bring back to life. Even give love and even take it. She can fly in the sky. She can become invisible, can make gold and bread out of nothing. Oh, 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 oh.
Dang. My bad. We were just joking. Jessica apologized, sticking out her tongue, but Maria didn't accept it. She grabbed her notebook back out of my hands and, opening to some other pages, tried to prove that the witch existed. Those pages had colorful drawings of witches on them, and, well, conveyed the fantastical image Maria had of witches. It wasn't the normal sinister image of a crooked-nosed hag flying around on a broom, but a dreamlike person with unnatural powers who could do anything and wore a beautiful dress. It was just what you would expect from an imaginative young girl. Flitting through the sky, crossing a rainbow, dancing around all night with a teacup and a teapot that would never get empty no matter how much you poured out of it. With a flourish of her staff, the stars in the sky would become candy and pour down, and flowers that produced sweets would bud by the roadside. To Maria, witches were the only concept that could embody the magical dream that so captivated her. As she grew older, it was the last remaining thing that could give richness to her dull and plain everyday life. That's why Maria believed in witches. She didn't want that dream of hers to be tarnished. That's why she didn't want anyone to tarnish the epitaph which affirmed the existence of witches, because the witch named Beatrice is Maria's dream. To Maria, the epitaph is a guide to the hidden gold, but magic to revive the witch isn't a guide. So it was the single link between Maria and the witch. Maria was very angry and clung to George. Jessica and I scratched our heads and apologized. It might not be possible to smooth things over again like the time she got mad in front of the portrait. Maria didn't seem willing to be easily consoled. Unlike Jessica and I, who hung our heads wondering what to do, Shannon timidly opened her mouth.
Maria, did you know? There's a ghost story about Beatrice that's been passed down among the servants.
Oh?
Yeah, that's right. Shannon, tell us about it. I don't really know, but it's apparently pretty famous among the servants. What is this? A ghost story? Yes, it seems it's a story from before we were born. I also heard about it from my mother.
Yes, it has been passed down since the time of the mansion's construction. The servants of that time whispered that the mansion had two masters, one of the day and one of the night.
The Maria slander should not be tolerated. For real. The tale that Shannon told was just like a typical campfire ghost story. If there was a forest with a witch living inside it, then of course the witch would come pay the mansion a visit from time to time. At some point, this ghost story naturally sprouted up between the servants. When the people do the rounds the second time to check doors, windows, and locks that were supposedly closed, they find some of them left open. Lights that were supposed to be off were turned on, and lights that were supposed to be on went out. Things left lying around would disappear, and things would appear when no one had any memory of putting them there. When any of these things happened, the old servants would say that the witch had visited the mansion invisible and was playing pranks.
Oh, see, she exists. Beatrice exists.
Yeah, she exists. Long ago, it was always right before leaving for school that I wasn't able to find my bag and stuff. Maria puffed out her chest with an ooh-ooh as though this was the final proof of the witch's existence. If I opened my mouth, Maria would probably be hurt again, so I didn't. I mean, you hear this kind of story everywhere. Depending on the place, they might blame it on a dwarf or an elf. The only difference is that they call it a witch on this island. Of course, walking around a vast, elegant mansion at night would be a little unsettling. It's an island devoid of people. Since the mansion is so drafty, walking around on the night of a thunderstorm would certainly be eerie. In addition, some servants have also seen will-o'-the-wisps. not will-o'-wisps, will-o'-the-wisps, and glittering butterflies dancing around. Cannon also saw something like that when he went patrolling one night. And recently, you often hear servants talking about strange footsteps heard inside the mansion near midnight. We've whispered together that Beatrice in the portrait sometimes makes herself invisible and walks through the mansion. It happened a while ago. But even I have heard footsteps while patrolling at night that resembled these stories. Huh. That's scary.
But there's nothing to be afraid of. Beatrice is another ruler of this mansion, separate from the master. So there's no need to be unnaturally afraid. If you respect her, I hear she won't do anything bad.
However, she can be quite terrifying if you don't respect her, right?
Correct. I've heard that just before I began working here, someone who spoke badly about Beatrice fell down the stairs and quit after receiving a large injury to their back. Because of that, there was a rumor between the servants that Beatrice's anger had been brought down upon this person. Oh, anger will definitely be brought down on Battler and Jessica. Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't want her anger brought down upon me. I apologize, Maria. Of course, I also apologize to the witch. I'm sorry, Beatrice. Please forgive an outsider's nonsense. I apologize as well. I'm sorry, Beatrice. Will the witch be able to forgive us now?
Oh, don't know. Witches are fickle, so they forgive when they want to, and don't when they don't. Ugh.
That's no good. Maria, isn't there some kind of good luck charm that could prevent Battler and Jessica from suffering Beatrice's wrath? Maybe something that can block against magic? By relying on Maria, who was proud of knowing the most about witches, George was trying to revive her self-esteem. Once again, I've gotta admire his ability to calm kids down. After taking a moment to cross her arms and seriously ponder whether there might be a charm that could save us, she started flipping through the pages of her notebook. I'd thought it was just a scribble diary, but there also seemed to be quite a few pages that looked like they'd come from a book on black magic. Maria solemnly considered a group of these pages, which contained things that looked like magic circles. Apparently, Grandfather wasn't the only one with a black magic hobby. When Maria finally found what she was looking for, she snapped the notebook shut and threw it into her handbag. Then she began fishing through the bag's contents. There seemed to be various jumbled up things in there. After a while, she took out various pieces of junk, although they were probably important magical items to Maria, and repeatedly threw them back in, saying they were wrong. It was a little humorous, just like when Doraemon took out the wrong tool. They censored it. Finally, she seemed to discover what she was looking for. With a face that was unimaginably cheery when compared to the intense expression she had worn until now, she held those out to Jessica and me.
Huh.
I grabbed it and saw that it was a very cheap-looking charm. It looked like a bracelet made from plastic rosary, with a scorpion-themed medallion attached. Haven't you ever seen those cheap Zodiac-themed accessories? The kind you might win in a crane game at an arcade? It really looked like something like that. There were two of them. Probably one for me and one for Jessica. However, the very fact that there was two of them made them feel even more like cheap manufactured goods, making it pretty hard to think of them as magical items. You're giving these to me and Battler?
Oh, with these charms, you don't even need to worry about Beatrice, because scorpions have the power to ward off magic.
Huh? Really? I didn't know scorpions could do that.
Battler doesn't believe.
I'd said too much and angered Maria again. Maria took out her notebook again. Pointing out various pages, she went on and on about how the scorpion had such incredible holy power that it had been used in magical circles since ancient times. That was like a run-on sentence. I've heard about that from some of the other young servants. Something about how the scorpion is drawn as a magic repellent symbol in sorcery. Huh, really?
Oh, the scorpion protects against bad magic and calamity. The emerald brings peace to the heart, therefore its effects are twofold. Oh.
It's true. The scorpion wraps around the emerald and protects it. Yes, that certainly does sound like it would work well. I really wanted to make fun of those worthless looking charms, but as I watched Maria explaining with all of her heart and realized that she found them for our sake, I started to feel like it might actually work, even if it was just a prize from some game center. The material quality of the charm didn't matter. What mattered was the strength of her feelings. even if I don't think of myself as the sort of loser who'd laugh at something like that. Okay, thank you. I apologize to Beatrice, but even if I do end up getting cursed, I'll be safe now thanks to Maria's charm. Right, Jessica? Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Maria.
Oh, wear it on your arm when you want your heart to be at peace. Put it in your wallet and your money won't decrease. If you hang it from a doorknob, bad things can't get in. It's really convenient charm.
What an incredible effect. If Maria gives it her confident seal of approval, then it surely must be reliable. Shannon clapped her hands together and Maria stuck out her chest. She was totally in a good mood again. It's probably best if we let her lead the conversation a bit longer, if it'll keep her in such a good mood. Come to think of it, she looked a bit bored when we were getting excited about the hidden gold, probably because she couldn't keep up. While eating the cookies Kamisawa had baked, Jessica and I asked Maria this and that about black magic. Maria happily chatted away in response to our questions. Each time George and Shannon would act surprised or chime in. The clouds in the sky grew darker and darker, but we cousins really enjoyed communicating freely after a year's separation. Did I just feel a drop on my forehead? Huh? I wonder. As George rubbed his forehead, he looked up at the sky. Considering the color of the sky and the dampness of the air, it wouldn't have been odd for a raindrop to hit him. The wind also seemed to have grown a bit stronger.
Oh, I didn't feel a drop. Only I didn't. Oh.
Don't worry, neither did I. Anyway, I'm sure it'll rain so much tonight that everyone will get to feel plenty of raindrops. Excuse me. That's right. Maybe we should head back soon. Shannon looked down at her watch. It was probably well into the evening now. Is it already time for you to return to work?
Yes. Thank you very much for allowing me to enjoy some time together with you all.
Tell Kumasawa thanks for the cookies. Okay, everyone. Help out with the cleanup. Shannon declined our help, saying that this was a servant's job, but picking up dropped forks before the waitress had... Picking up dropped forks before the waitress has to is pretty much my purpose in life. That's a line. That's a line. We folded up the blanket, gathered up the trash, and helped clean everything up.
Oh, the trash is getting away. Oh.
I won't let it escape. I'll grab it before Maria does.
Oh, I'll grab it. Oh.
Maria, don't get your shoes wet. You'll get in trouble. To Maria, chasing after some trash sent flying by the powerful winds was just another game. By the time we finished, the wind was blowing pretty strongly. Probably a good time to head back.
You've all helped me out a lot. Thank you very much.
It looks like you're really out of time. It's okay if you head back first. George perceived from her hurried appearance that very little of her free time was left. Genji's very strict about time. If you don't show up where you're supposed to be at the right time, I bet he'll be pissed. We'll see you later. Do your best with your work.
Yes. And if you'll excuse me.
After making a respectful bow, Shannon ran towards the rose garden. Okay, let's head back to the guest house. We can watch TV or something and relax a little.
Oh, wanna watch TV. Ooh.
Then it's decided. Let's all head back and watch TV together. Maria, who wasn't done having fun, agreed once television was mentioned. We climbed up the gentle stairs and returned to the rose garden. The wind was growing very strong, and roses shook through the garden like ripples on the water. This might be our last chance to see these beautiful roses. I'll bet tonight's typhoon ruins them. Those roses might be done for by tonight's wind. You're right. Still, I think those roses were pretty lucky. After all, they got to welcome all of you before the typhoon. All flowers lose their petals eventually. But that means we can admire them even more when they're in bloom. That's right. Maria, burn this image into your eyes. At this moment, they're the best roses of the year.
Oh, burned into eyes.
Right then, Maria suddenly clapped her hands. It looked like she had remembered something.
My rose. The typhoon will send it flying. Oh!
Oh, you mean the sad-looking rose George marked with the ribbon? Maria apparently remembered where the rose was. She ran at full speed. The rest of us followed her. Where was that again? I'm sure it was somewhere around here. We searched everywhere around the area, but it was only a single flower among all the other roses after all. Even though we knew it was somewhere close by, we weren't able to find it. The wind making up the typhoon's front lines made roses throughout the garden undulated. It was almost like it was teasing us by making the location of Maria's rose impossible to find. Maybe it wasn't here. Let's try spreading out a bit in our search. Sounds good. Let's go for strength in numbers. What's up, Maria? As we made to split up and search, Maria tugged on my jacket with an unhappy face. You could tell she didn't want us to leave the spot. What is it? What's wrong?
Oh, my rose is here. It's here.
But it's actually not, right? Maybe it was on the other side of the flower bed. If we all look, we'll find it fast, okay?
Oh, it's here. My rose is here. Look for it. Look for it.
Maria stomped her feet in irritation. She pointed at that spot and said it was definitely there, but in actuality it wasn't. Even so, Maria got mad when we said we were going to search elsewhere. We were at a loss of what to do. For a while, we had to stay near Maria and pretend to search through that rose thicket.
Not there. Not here. Not here.
She's trying to say that it should be here, but it isn't. Maria becoming increasingly irritated. Oh man, Maria's really losing her temper. Sometimes Maria starts to really care about really pointless stuff. If she gets what she wants, that's okay, but you can't find something that isn't there. That's not good. Just when we were at a loss of what to do, Maria called out in a loud voice.
Mama! Ooh! Ooh!
We could see Aunt Rosa in the direction Maria was waving her hand. Maybe she wanted to look at the garden one more time before the typhoon came, or maybe she had some business at the guest house. Aunt Rosa was coming from the mansion. She quickly noticed her daughter's voice and came over. My, what happened, everyone? Are you looking for something?
Look for it! Mama! You look for my rose too! Ooh!
Your rose? We found an unhealthy rose here and marked it. We tied a candy wrapper around it, but Maria, if I remember correctly, it was growing right in front and really stood out, didn't it? We protect Maria in this chat. Unless it grew legs and ran off somewhere, it must have been somewhere else.
Hi, Eli.
Maybe you remembered it wrong.
Ooh, it's here. It is here. Battler doesn't believe. Ooh.
How many times do I have to tell you to stop saying ooh before you'll understand? Mama will look for it, so stay quiet. I'd never seen Aunt Rosa be anything other than kind and gentle, so her anger surprised me a bit. Aunt Rosa began searching as well, so we went along with her for the time being, but we were already more than sure that it wasn't around here. So it didn't take long for Aunt Rosa to realize that too. The rose isn't here. Did you mistake this place for somewhere else? There are so many roses around.
Ooh! Ooh! That's wrong. It's here. Mama doesn't believe. Ooh! Ooh! Ooh!
I already believed you and looked hard for it, didn't I? But it isn't here.
Ooh! Ooh! But it is here. It is here, but it isn't. Ooh! Ooh! Ooh!
Then someone must have ripped it out. Anyway, stop saying ooh ooh.
Ooh! 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 Who ripped out my rose? Who did it? Give it back! Give it back! Ooh! 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 Ooh!
How should I know? Stop it. Stop saying ooh ooh. Aunt Rosa slapped Maria's left cheek with her palm. Rosa rose to the aggressive parenting in the roses. Oh my god. In that instant, Maria was shocked into silence. Of course, it was only for an instant. When Maria realized that her wish was being rejected, she started yelling even louder.
Ooh! 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 My rose! My rose!
Tons of oohs. Didn't I tell you to stop that weird habit? That's why all the kids in your class make fun of you. Cut it out. Once again, her palm slapped Maria's cheek. This time, she didn't go silent. She choked as she started crying and began to bawl in an incredibly loud voice. Aunt Rosa was clearly irritated and lifted her hand one more time to try and shut her daughter up. Aunt Rosa? Now, she's just a little kid. There's no reason to get so serious. I tried to cut it with a bitter smile, rubbing my hands together, but Aunt Rosa glared at me with a serious face, and I realized that I should have stayed out of this. I'm sorry, but could the rest of you go back to your rooms for a bit? I need to have a little talk with Maria.
Ooh! 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 Nobody believes in my rose, even though it was here. Ooh! Ooh! Look for it! Look for it! Here! It was here! Ooh! 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 Ooh!
But it's not here, so you must have confused this place for somewhere else, right?
Ooh! 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 It is here! It's definitely here! Ooh! Ooh! Ooh!
Then it disappeared. Give it up.
Why? Why did it disappear? Why? Why? Ooh! Ooh! Ooh!
I don't know that. So stop saying ooh ooh. Aunt Rosa once again raised her hand, overcome by emotion, and slapped Maria's cheek. It was strong enough to knock Maria over. Hey, Aunt Rosa. Even if she's your daughter, violence isn't the answer. I stepped between them to protect Maria, who was still on the ground crying ooh ooh. I knew that, as an outsider, problems between parent and child were none of my business, but I wasn't brought up to just silently observe something like this. Don't you think it's weird, Battler? Are there any girls at your school who mutter ooh ooh? Well, I'm in high school. But for an elementary schooler, I think saying ooh ooh is pretty cute. Cute? Saying ooh ooh is cute? Cute? My careless words seemed to have earned me Aunt Rosa's wrath. She grabbed my collar with a terrifying expression. Don't say such nonsense. Do you know how old Maria is? She's 9. She's a 4th grader, not a kindergartner. She still makes the sound during class. Don't you get it? Do you know what they say about this kid when they bully her? thanks to this weird habit, she still hasn't made a single friend. Don't turn your eyes from reality and carelessly call Maria cute. Think more seriously about this kid's future.
My goodness.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
I told you, stop making that sound. Didn't I tell you to stop it? Aunt Rosa struck Maria's quivering head, from which an increasingly unhappy voice was rising. I tried to stop it, but Aunt Rosa pushed me away. My back hit George.
A long time ago, Aunt Rosa thought of it as nothing more than one of Maria's baby words. But now that it has been fixed even midway through elementary school, she's been worried about it a lot. How she talks isn't really that big of a deal, right? She'll never make it as an adult if she's like that. So even though it isn't fun to watch, this is a problem between parent and child. Well, even if I get chewed out by mom all the time because of how I talk, then when they put it that way, maybe even a scene as painful as this isn't something an outsider like me should butt in on. Battler, when you were a kid, didn't you have any bad habits that you couldn't fix and that got you into a bit of trouble? One or two. On Parents' Day once, I kept getting yelled at in front of everyone, and it was embarrassing as hell. Well then, you can understand how the two of them must feel right now. I'm sure they don't want us to be here right now. You understand too, don't you, Jessica? I don't think anyone likes to be seen when they're being scolded. Let's go. We'll return to the guest house. Then after Maria comes back, let's welcome her as if nothing happened. That's probably for the best, isn't it? We thought George's point was probably a reasonable one, and we may have been eager to use that reasonable-sounding argument as a justification to retreat from this heart-rending scene. Jessica and I nodded to George, and we all left. We called towards Maria, telling her that we were going to head to the guest house, but she didn't seem to hear, and we felt sorry, or sort of guilty and shameless after saying it. In that case, look by yourself as much as you want. Mama doesn't care.
Ooh, I'll look for it. I'll look for it by myself, even if Mama doesn't care.
Have it your way. After blasting her with those last few words, Rosa spun on her heel and quickly returned to the mansion. Maria probably viewed that as a cold gesture meant to injure. But that wasn't Rosa's intention. It was because the hand with which she had so emotionally struck Maria's cheek was still numb. Ooh. Okay. Their thoughts sure are rendering after witnessing all that. Yeah, they're still loading. Oh god. Jesus, bro, yeah. It was because as she stayed there screaming, she might again be taken over by her emotions and continue slapping her daughter's cheek over and over. After Rosa left, Maria was left alone in the rose garden. The wind began to blow stronger and stronger, and every once in a while a raindrop would fall on her forehead. However, Maria couldn't leave that place. Not until she found that poor wilting rose. It had definitely been there. Even so, it wasn't. Even though she knew the place and even though it had been there, it wasn't. Maria bitterly stared at the place it was supposed to be and thought frantically. Maybe the angle I'm looking from is wrong. Maybe the height I'm looking from is wrong. While gazing at a single point, Maria repeatedly stood up, changing her position and continued to stare. The wind was getting stronger and stronger, but Maria kept on looking for that rose in front of the flower bed. Yo, I feel like, what was his name? the servant that was cooking with the roses, I feel like he used that rose for his cooking. But I don't know. I can't tell. Dang. Trauma, family trauma, generational trauma. Kinzo noticed the sound of the raindrops beating on the window. It seemed to be pouring down thickly. It had begun to rain later than the weather report had predicted. Kinzo approached the window as if being summoned by the sound of the rain. The sound of rain is a sound of silence. The sound feels quieter than any silence. It makes humans remember that, in the end, they are alone from the moment that they're born to the moment they die. "You're late, Beatrice." Were those words directed at the rainy sky? Were there no one to be seen? There was no one to be seen in the direction of Kinzo's gaze. "Well then, let us begin. Let us begin our banquet of miracles. This island has now been cut off from the world. Now there are none who can interrupt my ceremony. There are many fitting sacrifices for you. 4 of my children, 3 of their companions, 4 of my grandchildren, me and my guests and my servants. You may devour as many as you please. The key of fate will select the sacrifices in accordance with the demon's roulette. If that roulette chooses me, even I will become your sacrifice. However, because of that, because I will bet on such madness, I will most assuredly bring forth a grand miracle. Come, devour to your heart's content. I will achieve... Wow. I will achieve victory over that roulette. Yes, I'll put everything on the line. First, I'll return the inheritance of the Oshiromiya family. Accept it. Disney and Pixar present... Ooh! This doesn't look good. No, it doesn't. Ooh, ooh, said the seagulls. Coming this summer to theaters.
Ooh, ooh, said the seagulls.
Kinzo tore the window open, ripped a golden ring off his finger, and forcefully threw it away. At that time, the sound of thunder rang out, giving the illusion that the lightning had accepted the ring. And, when you are resurrected, surely I will be the one who stands witness. I will survive until the end and watch over you as you awaken. So come, Beatrice. Welcome to my banquet. In exchange for all that I have created, show me another miracle just this once. Oh, Beatrice!
Spooky. I need water. Water.
Oh, desire. Oh, I need to crack my back. A news ticker popped up on top of the TV program we were watching. Oh god, I remember that. Let's hold on for a second. I gotta burp. Excuse me. The disaster report told how municipalities all over were continually sending out rain, floods, and wave warnings. Of course, the raindrops beating harshly on the window were even more convincing. This rain's incredible. Still, when it's raining this hard, it also feels like it might stop at any moment. You wish. They said the typhoon's moving slow. So it might be like this all day tomorrow. And even a little bad weather stops the boats from coming. Looks like we won't be able to head out on Sunday after all. Just in case, I cleared all outside business from my Monday schedule, and I'm glad I did. Which means, looks like we'll get to skip school Monday. Living on an island's starting to sound pretty good. Come to think of it, Jessica, you gotta take a boat to school every day, don't you? What do you do when the boat stops running? Do you stay home when it rains and show up late when the wind blows like King Kamehameha? Wait. If the boats don't come, I stay home. Still, it's not as good as it sounds. Usually I'm ordered to study by myself, and it's not that fun with someone standing right behind you to watch everything you do. During the rainy season, does the weather ever stay bad for a long time and make you miss a bunch of days of school in a row? That does happen sometimes. Still, I'd get a call from my homeroom teacher every single day, who souredly guided me on how I should teach myself and what I had to turn in. She can't skip school as easily as you're imagining, Battler. She's got to follow the rules for people that travel to school by boat and get a good amount of studying done. It'd actually be easier to just go to school. In my own room, I get distracted and can't concentrate. After being made to do nothing but workbooks for several straight days, it's pretty hard to handle all that mental stress. When I get into college, I really just want to go to some dorm and quickly say goodbye to this inconvenient island. Ah, okay. By the way, what do you do when the weather's good in the morning, but then gets so bad on your way home that the boats are closed? Do you spend the night at school? That actually happens a lot. Because of that, they built some lodgings for people who can't get back to the island they live on. That's where you'd spend the night. Sometimes, when it gets really bad, you can't get back home for a few days at a time. Someone commuting to school or work on a train packed to twice its capacity might carelessly think that commuting by boat would be pretty interesting and fun, but it sounds like it comes with troubles of its own. You hear thoughtless tourists saying stuff like that all the time. I've had enough of island life. I really want to just graduate high school and say goodbye to this island. But there are all dorm schools even for high school, right? Why'd you choose that Najima school, if of all places? I've wanted to go to one of those from the beginning, but Mom always going on about how I need to learn manners and discipline as a successor. So I ended up sticking close to home, even for high school. Man, I hate this island. I just want to live in the city. I don't care if it rains, or even spears fall from the sky, as long as I can move to a city where I can wear casual clothes and sandals. That I can get to a convenience store in less than 5 minutes. Hold out just a little longer. Just a bit more and you'll graduate high school, right? I can't wait a little longer. Jessica stretched out and reclined on the sofa. Maybe it was a bad time slot because there weren't any interesting programs on, and we had nothing to do but languidly kill time until we were called for dinner. After that episode, Maria never returned to the cousin's room after all. Aunt Rosa probably took her back to the mansion. It had to be pretty boring for Maria, all by herself while the adults had a confusing conversation. We thought we might as well head over to the mansion to see her, but the weather was really awful. And since there wasn't much time until dinner, we stayed where we are. At that time, we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered. Yes. The preparations for dinner are complete. Please come to the mansion. It was Cannon's voice. He'd Did he go to all this trouble of coming from the mansion in this rain just to get us? Couldn't he have just called us on the telephone? Well, I guess servants at work don't always get to take the most efficient route. Just when I was getting hungry. Let's go. George turned off the television and stood up. My stomach's been growling for a while. I've always been a huge fan of the many family dinners. Didn't go to say it was calf steak or something? Oh, I can't wait. Our dinners are always even more fabulous than usual when the family conference comes around. Even I'm looking forward to it. Let's go, let's go. After we left the room, Cannon bowed silently and respectfully. Hi, Foxy. Welcome in. Okay, let's go. Is the rain pretty nasty out there? Yes. Take care not to get your garments wet. You're gonna get 3 hours of sleep. Oh my goodness. I need more than that. After seeing the three of us out, Cannon peered into the empty room. Wasn't Maria with you? No, she's not. Wasn't she with Aunt Rosa? Rosa was lying on a sofa in the empty parlor, having fallen asleep before she knew it. She was bearing a burden that the children couldn't even imagine. That's why she only needed to let her guard down a little before the weariness immediately dragged her into the world of sleep. Realizing this, Genji brought a blanket over to her. When he tried to spread it over her, her eyes snapped open as though she had been shocked with electricity. Ah! Thank you, Genji. When she realized that the thing that had touched her was a blanket and that Genji had been considerately giving it to her, she let out a sigh of relief. Did I wake you? My sincere apologies. No, it's okay. I hadn't planned on sleeping in the first place. What time is it now? When he was asked for the time, Genji checked a pocket watch that he took out of his chest pocket. It is slightly after 6. Rosa gave her head a little shake when she realized that not much time had actually passed, even though it felt like she had slept for ages. Even though she didn't feel rested at all, the drowsiness that had enveloped her must have been pretty deep. It's 12:28 a.m. at night and I have to wake up at 5. Oh gosh, but I can't sleep at all. I'm going to Portland with my family, and that's why I'm waking up at 5. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you can get some sleep. Thank you. I'll be fine without a blanket. I mustn't sleep at such a strange time. My sense of time has been completely thrown off. The rain. Has it finally started pouring down in earnest? Has it finally started pouring down in earnest, hasn't it? Okay. Rosa finally realized that the peaceful sound that had put her to sleep was actually the rain. The wind's blowing hard, too. I wonder if the typhoon is finally here. That's what they said on TV. The typhoon is moving slowly, so they think it will be like this all day tomorrow. Really? So our last chance to see that wonderful rose garden must already have passed by. From the window, what she could see of the rose garden was completely blurred by the wind and the rain. Maria. That's right. What about Maria? I have not seen her. Did she not return to the guest house? Rosa knew her daughter's nature well, so a chill ran down her spine. Maria was stubbornly honest, and if she was ordered to find something that didn't exist, she would look forever and ever, even in pouring rain. No, the cousins left before I did, so Maria was alone. Unless someone told her to stop, she'd stay there even if it started raining spears, without even opening an umbrella. How could I have lost control of my emotions and done such a thing? Even though she'd known about Maria's simple honesty better than anyone, she once again lost control of her emotions and done something terrible. Maria! Rosa pushed Genji away and ran down the hall. The outside really looked like a typhoon, and the rain was pouring down spectacularly. Maybe because of some aspect of the terrain, the winds weren't typhoon class, so an umbrella wouldn't be torn out of one's hands. Even so, it certainly was a windy rain. There was no time to admire the roses being drenched. Anyway, I'm getting pretty worried about Maria. You don't think she's still rebelliously searching for that rose alone, do you? I wonder. Surely she wouldn't do it in this rain. Or at least, I wish I could believe that, but Maria sometimes gets really stubborn and intensely straightforward. Oop. We hadn't worried much, thinking that Aunt Rosa had taken her back to the mansion. However, when Cannon had come from the mansion to call us and thought Maria was here, we got a little worried. I did not see her in the mansion, so I was sure she was here. After all, Rosa was taking a nap. You didn't see her on your way over here? My apologies. I opened my umbrella and ran as fast as I could, so I didn't pay much attention. If he had cut through the rose garden, taking the shortest line between the mansion and the guest house, then he would have just barely missed the place where Maria had been looking for her rose. And it was raining this hard too. It certainly wouldn't have been possible for Cannon to fail to notice her. Instead of arguing around here, it'd be faster to just check it out directly. Big bro, why don't we race over there? Oh, do you think you can beat me now that you've grown for 6 years? Okay, let's settle this. Go. And they ran. George and I flew out into the rain. Jessica and Cannon followed us. Maria! If you're there, answer me! Maria! It's Aunt Rosa. Hey, Aunt Rosa! When George called back, Aunt Rosa jumped at him and grabbed onto him. Where's Maria? Isn't she with you? No, we didn't meet with Maria after that. Maria! 6 years ago, Maria was 3 years old. She was cute and pure kid who'd just accept what anyone said. But 6 years have passed since then. She's 9 now, and experiencing the ups and downs of life should have taught her something. Okay. But Maria, are you telling me you're still as innocent and pure as you used to be? Maria! As I circled the rose bed, something white unexpectedly turned to face me. It was a white umbrella. Maria was crouching down, holding a white umbrella, still searching for that rose.
Oh.
Her face, which had turned bright red from crying her eyes out, was dirtied with water and mud. It was truly a pitiful sight. Maria, are you still looking?
Oh, can't find it. Can't find it. My rose. Oh.
Maria had probably been here since the rain started pouring down. Her shoulders were freezing. She looked tired to the bone, but fortunately, since she was holding an umbrella, she wasn't completely soaked. The umbrella probably came from the handbag Maria was always carrying around. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness. Battler, thank goodness you found her. Maria! I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Rosa threw her umbrella aside and hugged Maria.
Oh, it's not here. My rose isn't here. Oh.
I'll look for it with you later, okay? So just put it on hold for today, okay?
Oh, put it on hold for today.
It looked like Maria still wasn't able to accept it, but she no longer had enough energy left to resist. Jessica and Cannon caught up with us. I'll have a towel ready in the mansion immediately. Maria, were you here this whole time? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being such a bad mother. Aunt Rosa, why don't we head back to the mansion for the time being? If we stay here, Maria will catch cold. You're right. Maria, let's go. If we don't get you cleaned up, Grandfather will be mad.
Oh, hungry.
It's already time to eat. You did a good job holding out, Maria. Once the weather gets better, we'll all go search together. We couldn't stay in the rain forever. We took Maria with us as we headed back to the mansion. Maria apparently wasn't as worn out as I had thought. When she remembered we were having calf steak for dinner, she started chanting,
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Ooh, ooh.
and returned to her usual spirited self. Aunt Rosa didn't chide Maria for saying ooh ooh. I see. So she had an umbrella on her. Maria sure is good at packing the right stuff.
Oh, I didn't bring an umbrella. Oh,
What? Then how did you get that white umbrella you're holding?
oh, I borrowed it.
Some caring person must have brought her an umbrella. A normal kid would look for shelter once it started raining, but Maria was too stubborn to give up so easily. So maybe that caring person gave up on telling Maria to find shelter, then decided to at least give her an umbrella. I see. We'll have to thank that person. Who was it?
Oh, Beatrice.
The name Maria cheerfully mentioned was that of the island's witch. Rosa took a deep breath and asked again, trying to do so in a way that wouldn't damage Maria's good mood. Really? That's wonderful. So, who was it? Who brought you that umbrella?
Oh, Beatrice. Ooh, ooh.
Maria immediately realized that her mother didn't believe her and started crying out unhappily again. So Rosa stopped pushing the subject. It'd probably be faster to ask whoever lent Maria the umbrella during dinner rather than ask Maria herself. Father, please at least join us for dinner. It won't be a family conference otherwise. Along with a dull pounding on the door, the sound of Cross's entry could be heard. Entreaty? Entreaty. However, that voice seemed to be resigned to the fact that nothing it said would be heard. Kinzo, won't you at least come out for dinner? All your children have gathered here to see your face, haven't they? Silence, Nanjo. So the bishop won't work. One move too short. Apparently, Kinzo was completely focused on the final battle of his long-lasting chess match with Nanjo. Kinzo's brows were wrinkled as he continued to glare at the game board through his spectacles. Krause's voice didn't reach his ears. Kinzo, I'm hungry myself. Why don't we go down and eat? Go by yourself if that's what you want. Let me consider this next move for a little longer. We're going to finish it tonight. Otherwise, it's doubtful we'll finish before the world ends. Nanjo rose from his seat, hoping this would prompt Kinzo to do the same. Stretch. Oh, God. Oh, but Kinzo's eyes never left the chessboard. He knew well that Kinzo always displayed a blind concentration when it came to chess, but he'd never seen Kinzo concentrate at it this hard. It was almost as though Kinzo was telling the truth, and there would never be another chance for them to continue their contest if they didn't finish tonight. It seemed that no matter how obstinately he called out to Kinzo, it wouldn't reach the latter's heart. Nanjo gave up and headed to the door that Krause was still banging on. The door to the study opened. Krause was taken aback, thinking that maybe Kinzo was actually coming out. However, Nanjo was the one who appeared, and Krause let out a sigh of relief. Dr. Nanjo, his father... I'm sorry I couldn't be of service. Right now, this room is Kinzo's whole world. Nanjo shook his head with a completely defeated expression. Krause raised his fist once more and banged on the door, shouting, Father, can you hear me? We're heading down, but please join us anytime you feel like it. All your children are waiting for you. His voice was very loud, and he was making a racket pounding on the door. There was no way it wouldn't reach Kinzo's ears. Well, it certainly was reaching him, but he ignored it anyway. However, unlike the time he had been called down for lunch, he didn't fly into rage. By now, Kinzo was calm at heart, almost as though he had taken a philosophical view and turned himself over to fate. Neither dinner nor the faces of my children interest me in the slightest. I will only leave here if Beatrice is resurrected, or if I'm chosen as a sacrifice for the key. The demon's roulette has already started spinning. What meaning does dinner have at this point? As though the painfully loud banging on the door completely failed to enter his hearing, Kinzo silently thought about his next chess move, still in his philosophical state. Just as always, Kinzo's figure couldn't be seen anywhere in the dining hall. Kraus, wearing a bitter smile, returned with Nanjo. Father says he's still not feeling well. He truly regrets missing this once-a-year opportunity to sit together with his gathered family. Even Rudolph sniggered. What? Given Kinzo's personality, there was no way he'd show signs of regret, and none of his relatives showed any regret at his absence. Then why don't we start dinner? Goda, begin. Certainly. Well then, if you will allow me. When Goda was told to start the family conference dinner, his biggest time to shine of the whole year, he nodded with a broad grin. Wah!
Hi, Flame. Hello?
May I ask who lent Maria an umbrella?
Oh, hi.
When Maria timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall, or when Rosa timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall, everyone noticed.
Hello. Hi.
An umbrella? What's this about?
A short while back, Maria was in the rose garden when it started to rain. She apparently borrowed a white umbrella from someone. I wanted to thank them.
It wasn't one of us. After you left, we moved to a different room and had a friendly chat that whole time. That's right. Even after that, the siblings had a real friendly chat. The word friendly felt awkward from Hideyoshi's lips, so even those who hadn't been present could tell the conversation hadn't been a pleasant one. At the very least, it couldn't have been me, Eva, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, or Kyrie. We were together the whole time, even after Natsuhi and Rosa left, the whole time until the meal started. Big Brother went up to the study with Genji to call Father. At that time, the rest of us went straight to the dining hall. So it wasn't one of us. Couldn't it have been a servant kind enough to lend an umbrella? So was it you, Goda? I have been in the kitchen the whole time preparing. My sincerest apologies. Goda looked slightly disappointed about missing this chance to show off. At that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a serving cart loaded with hors d'oeuvres. Then what about Kumasawa or Shannon?
Yes. Has something gone wrong?
Because Shannon had come in part way, she shrank back, mistakenly thinking that the others were searching for the one responsible for some error. It isn't like that. It started to rain when Maria was alone in the rose garden. After that, someone lent her an umbrella. Aunt Rosa said she wanted to thank that person.
Oh, Beatrice.
Maria, her mouth thin in a line, said the witch's name in a small voice. Aunt Rosa explained the situation one more time. As she did, Kumasawa cackled. Oh, ha, 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 ha. It wasn't us. Shannon and I were preparing the rooms together, so we did not go outside.
Yes.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to be of assistance.
Preparing the rooms? What do you mean by that?
Because of the rain. We thought it would be troublesome for all the guests to return to the guest house, so the servants were ordered to prepare the guest rooms inside the mansion.
Really? How thoughtful. Yes, it certainly would be rude to chase us outside in this rain. Could you give it a rest?
Yes. After receiving the order from Madam, Kumasawa, Canon, and I started preparing the rooms. Then it became time for dinner, so Genji ordered Canon to go to the guest house and summon the children.
Yes, so did Ken find Maria on the way to the guest house and hand her the umbrella?
Oh, wrong.
Wrong! You have failed. The person who actually received the umbrella denied it. Rosa was troubled. All she wanted to do was give a word of thanks to the person who had lent the umbrella, but she couldn't find them. And she'd thought asking like this with everyone gathered for dinner would work immediately.
Then, was it you, Natsuhi? I'm sorry. After everyone's friendly chat, my headache was so bad that I had been resting in my room. Therefore, I did not go outside. And who was it? George and the kids? It can't be right.
No, it wasn't us. We were watching... Oh, I'm back to normal.
Hello. I'm back to normal.
We were watching the television in the guest house the whole time. Actually, we thought Maria had just gone back to the mansion with you. Then Cannon came, and he asked where Maria was, whether Maria was with us. That's when we first realized she wasn't in the mansion. I mean, if it were me, I'd have grabbed her hand and pulled her under a roof before giving her an umbrella. Rosa was completely baffled. One by one, the relatives and the servants denied that they had done it, even though it really wasn't something anyone would need to hide. So, by process of elimination, the number of remaining candidates wasn't large. Of course it wasn't me. Right after it began raining, I visited Kinzo's room, and I was playing chess with him until just now.
Which means that it also wasn't grandfather.
Wait a sec. Isn't this starting to get a little bit weird? Who's left?
Then who was it? Genji? Huh? Wait a second. Don't get me wrong.
It's not like I'm searching for some culprit or anything. All I wanted to do is, as a mother, thank the person who gave Maria an umbrella in the middle of rain. Giving an umbrella to a girl loitering in the rain was something to be praised, not hidden. Despite that, no one raised their hand. Why not? Everyone started whispering about how strange this was getting. Calm down, Rosa. Why don't we just ask the person who was lent the umbrella? That's what everyone had been thinking since the beginning. They were all scratching their heads as to why she didn't just ask Maria, who had been given the umbrella. However, Rosa bit her lower lip. After all, she already knew how Maria would answer if asked. Of course. Rudolph here's got it right. Maria, tell your uncle. Who lent you the umbrella?
Beatrice.
The dining hall was wrapped in silence for an instant, but it was soon interrupted by a burst of laughter. I see. So Beatrice, the witch of the forest, felt pity and lent her an umbrella. What a lovely story. Rosa, there you have it. Rosa couldn't believe it. Even though she just wanted to say thanks for the umbrella, why did everything have to be so clouded in smoke?
Oh, just like Uncle Crest said. Beatrice let me borrow it. Oh.
Isn't that wonderful? We should all be jealous of such purity. What do you think, everyone? Kraus was laughing with a face that was clearly mocking, but Maria was overjoyed, apparently convinced that her claim was being believed. How did that work? Does that mean a witch really appeared and lent her an umbrella? Jessica asked me in a small voice that wouldn't carry over to Maria, who was sitting across from me. Has Maria ever been the type to make jokes? If we'd heard that kind of story pop out of my old bastard's mouth, we'd probably taken it as another joke. However, it was hard to explain it. It was hard to explain it away that one. However, it was hard to explain it away like that when Maria said it. This was getting pretty unnerving. No way. She's always been frank and serious. She's the sort who'd believe any joke, even when one's normal people could instantly tell were lies. I had never even heard of her cracking a joke. Aunt Rosa probably knew that better than anyone. It appeared that because of this weird situation, she had no idea what was going on anymore. So, if Maria said she borrowed an umbrella from Beatrice, that must mean it really was Beatrice. We're talking about Maria here, so I can't think of it as some kind of metaphor or joke. It might be best to just take what she said at face value. Then what's going on? Are you saying Genji or someone put on that fancy dress from the portrait and gave Maria the umbrella? I'm not sure about that. Actually, that's what I want to know. Jessica shrugged jokingly, but her expression didn't completely match her attitude. Ugh. Stretch. Oh, excuse me. Once the hors d'oeuvres were set out and Goda showed off his vast store of knowledge, the meal began. A couple casual chats broke out here and there, but they seemed somehow distant, and the meal ended up being so quiet that you couldn't ignore the sound of the rain sneaking into the dining hall. Kumasawa and Shannon pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Cannon on their way to the kitchen. Oh, it's Genji. Did you lend Maria an umbrella? An umbrella? What are you talking about? Well, I heard that when it started raining, Maria was alone in the rose garden. It seems she borrowed an umbrella from someone there, but we don't know who it was. It wasn't me. After all, I actually thought Maria was in the guest house. When Battler first found her, she was already holding a white umbrella. My apologies, but it wasn't me either. Then, could it actually be the master? Both in the dining hall and right here, everyone had stated that they hadn't done it. That left only Kinzo, but maybe he went walking down the corridor for some reason when he just happened to see Maria in the rose garden without even an umbrella. The master is not particularly fond of Maria. I agree. I can't imagine that for Maria's sake he'd go to all that trouble of descending the stairs with an umbrella. Oh my, how troublesome. Did that mean that the one who lent Maria an umbrella really was Beatrice? Kumasawa laughed, just like the relatives in the dining hall who had laughed it off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through the smoke veiling the current situation. Just then the crisp sound of hands clapping twice rang through the hallway. They all turned around at once to see Goda coming out of the dining hall. Okay, everyone. When serving dinner, proper timing while setting the table is essential. Please immediately see to setting out the soup. Genji, the women are in the middle of an important job, so please don't get in their way. Canon glared at Goda for being rude to Genji, a person Canon respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Canon once on the shoulder as a warning. Canon reluctantly turned away and returned to his expression to normal. Obey Goda's instructions. Hurry and prepare the dining table. My tongue's getting tied again. Come now. There's no time. Don't dawdle. Hurry. Goda grabbed the serving cart from Shannon and steadily pushed it towards the kitchen. Am I hearing, like, knocking? Then please allow us to return to the kitchen. After all, Goda's temper is very short.
Please excuse me as well.
Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Canon remained. Through the window, the darkness of the rainy night could be seen, along with the occasional thunderbolt. Genji, did Beatrice really return? I don't know. Shall I inform the master? That's not necessary. If she truly has returned, she will eventually appear before the master of her own accord. Furthermore, if she's a fickle person, it would be pointless to report to the master only to find that she does not appear. I wonder if this means the master's ceremony has already begun. Probably. However, that has nothing to do with furniture like us. We must continue to return the favor we receive from the master until our final moments. Yes. That is furniture's duty. The thunder crashed once more, except for those instances when lightning lit up the sky. Nothing could be seen out the window but the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, those that are not human rule when the sun is down. The darkness of night that now surrounded Rokenjima was ruled by another master, not the Oroshimiya family. Shiromiya. Did this master take pity on Maria when she was alone and being pummeled by the rain in the rose garden, lending her an umbrella? Canon looked at the rose garden's lights, dimly visible beyond the window. The dim lights weren't enough to illuminate the surrounding area. Looking at those lights felt like making eye contact with the witch, and Canon forced himself to avert his gaze. If he didn't, it felt like his eyes would be absorbed by that light. Can the weather change how people act? You often hear stories about things like atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health.
It makes me feel growth.
For some time now, everyone has been struggling to clear the gloomy atmosphere. But any conversation was quickly cut off, and in the end, the dining hall was simply filled with the sound of the rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake accompanied by pear sorbet. Goda enthusiastically explained the recipe as soon as this final dish was presented, but I quickly forgot the details. The guest of honor, grandfather, was absent. The weather was horrible, and the identity of the one who lent Maria an umbrella remained a mystery. When dinner ended, no one felt even one bit refreshed. It was too late now, but I realized painfully that taste wasn't the only important part of the meal. The whole atmosphere was also critical. Goda and the supposed conductor of this musical piece called Dinner did his best to enliven the place, dropping little jokes left and right, but apparently not one of them succeeded. After taking orders from after-dinner coffee, tea, and orange juice, he left for the kitchen. As soon as he disappeared, Uncle Cross spoke. My, what a waste that the dinner Goda worked so hard to create had met such gloomy atmosphere. Yes, absolutely. It just feels like nothing would taste good today. I'd like to know why you feel that way. Later on, I'll do all I can as your older brother to help cheer you up. Aunt Eva grimaced slightly. I'd already heard she wasn't on good terms with Uncle Cross, but it was pretty clear now. When I looked around, I noticed that my father and Aunt Rosa were also grimacing. Apparently, there was something besides the weather troubling all of them. Both Aunt Eva and my dad aren't looking too happy. Really? I don't think so. I asked Aunt Natsuhi, who was sitting on my right, but she seemed to be in a bad mood as well. She snapped back as if to say she was absolutely not interested. Well, our adult conversation got a little complicated. It isn't something kids like you need to worry about, Battler. Isn't that right, Natsuhi? Kyrie. Uncle Hideyoshi's laughed as he spoke, but without his usual brightness, so I could vaguely imagine just how complicated their adult conversation had become. Oh. I might need a stuffed stool to read from my book. Oh my goodness.
Hello. Wow.
On top of that, Aunt Natsuhi and Kyrie, the people he had directed his comment to, ignored him as though they hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what kind of conversation they had been having while us kids were away, but it reminded me of how Dad said he had the stomach cramps when he arrived at the mansion. The family conference might have been a playful reunion to us kids, but it was definitely different for the adults. After Uncle Hideyoshi's comment was ignored by the other adults and an awkward silence fell over the room, Kyrie spoke up.
Oh, stretch.
We were talking about how the kids' careers would turn out. Such as what lies in your future, Battler. Will you just drift on to college? Wouldn't that be a little disheartening as a starting line for a long race of life? Hey, wait a second. Kyrie, if you start talking about something like that in the middle of a meal, it won't digest well and we'll all end up getting constipated. Posture check, thank you. That's right. We were talking about Battler and Jessica's careers. You gotta think seriously about the future. Hideyoshi heartily agreed as if they really had been talking about that, but that was probably wrong. Kyrie had obviously been trying to change the subject. However, if Kyrie had determined that this was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I cast aside my suspicions as to the cause behind Aunt Eva and Dad's bad moods. At long last, the serving cart returned, filled with coffee and tea. Kumasawa and Shannon served it to everyone. Goda then explained that this concluded tonight's meal. If only the mood had been a bit more cheery, it might have been the best dinner in my life. It was a shame that this best of dinners couldn't have been under the best of conditions.
Ugh. George, is dinner over now? Over?
Yeah. With this, dinner is finished. Don't be rude. Stay in your seat and calmly drink up. Maria looked like she was really excited by the occasionally crashing thunder. Maybe she wanted to quickly finish eating and run over to the window. She had been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. Some people are afraid of thunder, while others find it interesting, and Maria was apparently one of the latter sort. Therefore, when she heard from George that dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then rose from her seat, took out her handbag, which she'd set under her seat, never having left it even while she was eating, and began fishing around inside of it. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. What's that? Where did you get it? George was the first person to notice it. As he spoke, Battler noticed too. They saw that Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-style envelope. On the front of the envelope, the Oshiromiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, the fact that it was sealed with dark red wax made it clear that this wasn't something Maria could have brought as a prank. Maria, what is that? It seemed that Natsuhi had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope Maria was holding. Her voice sounded too serious for someone admonishing a small child, so the relatives around us finally noticed too. What happened, Natsuhi? What is that? Maria, where did you pick that up? That envelope has Kinzo's. When Nanjo muttered that, even us kids could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope that Maria held was one of the Oshiromiya family had custom-made envelopes for private use. In other words, it could only mean one thing. This envelope contained a message from Kinzo. Huh. What is an envelope like that doing here? Now that's an interesting thing to come jumping out at us. Just let me have a peek.
Oh? No way. I'll read it. I was told to read it to everyone.
Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out from Maria's hands, but she protected it as though hugging it and didn't let go. Hideyoshi, you can't use force against a child. Maria, where did you get this envelope?
Oh, I got it from Beatrice when she gave me the umbrella. She told me to read it to everyone after the meal was over. I'm the witch messenger. Ooh.
Messenger? The almighty witch of the island sure likes to mess around. Battler tried to joke about it, but no one laughed. I wonder what's written inside of it. Maria?
Ooh, gonna read it. Ooh.
Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed only with wax, so she just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. That sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it. He then set it to the center of the table where Natsuhi, Kirie, and Nanjo stared at it. Imprinted in the sealed wax was the one-winged eagle, which was the Oshiromiya family crest and also Kinzo's personal crest. This is the family head's personal crest. I know it from the letter I had received from Kinzo before. Without a doubt, this is his wax seal. But aren't there several things in the mansion bearing that crest? For example, if there was some kind of stamp for wax seals, couldn't someone other than Kinzo have used it? No, Kinzo would always use a ring on his finger. His proof to the Oshiromiya family headship where he sealed the wax. This shape and complex design is definitely Kinzo's seal. That is not necessarily so. Anyone in the family must have received a letter from father at least once. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone used that wax as a model to create a fake seal and pass themselves off as father. I agree with Big Bro. No matter how much the seal resembles Dad's, we can't prove that it's the real thing, so it doesn't prove this envelope came from him. I absolutely agree. I cannot approve of arbitrary decidings that this letter came from Father based solely on the wax seal. Dr. Nanjo, couldn't you use a bit more discretion with your vague words? I apologize. It was not my place to speak. One after another, all the siblings from Cross on downward rejected Nanjo's statement, saying that the envelope Maria held wasn't necessarily from Kenzo. They were afraid. They feared from the bottom of their hearts that Kenzo's intentions were written in there, and that it might be some announcement regarding the inheritance that would be decidedly unfavorable to them. Maria, the person who gave you the envelope was the same person who lent you that umbrella, right?
Huh?
I don't know what "oo" means. Is it true?
Oh, yes. Oh.
So in other words, the witch, Beatrice, gave Maria that envelope along with the umbrella?
Oh.
Maria nodded forcefully. I agree with my husband. It's a dubious letter handed over by some suspicious person. It isn't even worth reading. There's nothing wrong with just reading it, right? Battler said it to Jessica in a small voice, trying to act tough, but Nazi heard him clearly and glared at him with threatening eyes. And then, Beatrice told you to read it after the meal was over, right, Maria?
Huh.
It's okay, everyone. This envelope didn't come from Grandfather, but from Beatrice. Regardless of who actually wrote it, why can't we just hear what's inside before we decide? That's right. Even if Father didn't necessarily write it, I'd still like to know what's written inside. Maria, I'm sorry. I tried to take it from you. I'm sorry I tried to take it from you by force earlier. I apologize. So will you read it aloud in front of everybody? Maria, read it.
Oh.
As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle. Do you think it really did come from Dad? Impossible. Whenever Father had announced something to us in the past, he would always send Genji if he didn't do it directly, right? I cannot believe that he would use such a joke-like approach. That's right. Maria, a messenger? That definitely doesn't suit Father's tastes. Rosa, could this be Maria trying to surprise us by putting on some kind of show? Maria isn't really a kid who's capable of something so thoughtful. Damn, that's fucked up.
Gonna read it. Oh.
The words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason her voice seemed different from usual. Everyone went silent, suddenly silent.
Welcome to Rokenjima, members of the Oshiromiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family employed by Kinzo himself.
That's crazy. Quiet. This track.
I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kinzo has announced the first suspension of that contract. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist for this day forth.
How foolish. What nonsense. I can't stand to listen to this.
And now, there is one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kinzo a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Oshiromiya family as interest.
Ridiculous. It's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? One of those things. Doesn't it sound like one of those contracts with the devil? The contract has expired, so they've come to collect the interest. Is she trying to grab some retirement money for her old age or something? What a cheeky witch. Battler, now is not the time to joke around. Battler made a face as to ask, if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of? Some of the adults' faces were pale, while others looked dazed. After
hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If and only if that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and the interest for all eternity.
A special clause? What is it?
Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon those rights for all time.
The Santa Claus.
The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in the collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Oshiromiya family's head ring, which signifies the passage of the Oshiromiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint on this wax seal.
Are they trying to claim that that's the meaning behind the seal? That father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable. Relinquish his ring. Cross stared at the sealing wax as if trying to burn a hole through it. Eva and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder. Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I did have a strange feeling that something was missing from Kinzo's finger. Oh, excuse me. Dr. Nanjo, don't say something so careless just because of a vague memory. We can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we determine whether he really handed over his ring and whether this letter tells the truth. That's right. It's just as Kyrie says. Do you really think Kinzo will tell you? After all, that person's thought sometimes surpasses the bounds of common sense. No matter what happens, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk of that gold from the rest of you. But this is the witch speaking, right? How about how the inheritance and all the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice is Father's legal advisor or in charge of his funds. We can't possibly trust some strange person who entrusts such suspicious paper to a child. Big bro, we need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? No, that's impossible. As a family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. It should be impossible for anyone to do as they please with them without me knowing it. So this must mean that there's some assets you don't control, right, Kraus? How foolish. Such assets could not possibly exist. Oh, but there is such a thing. An asset of Father's that you don't control. There is no such thing that could exist. No, it does. It's Beatrice's hidden gold. Let's keep it simple. In short, Dad has some trusted confidant that Big Bro doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person has always been in charge of watching and managing the gold. Or it could be some eccentric rich person who offered him a loan with rules like a devil's contract. Could it be that this confidant called Beatrice is trying to test which of Kinzo's children is most worthy to be financed by her gold? Kiri's question was one that all the siblings wanted answered. Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph had hung in the hall beneath the witch's portrait for quite some time. And while it had long been whispered that whoever solves the puzzle would receive everything, no one had clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone had hoped might be true. And right here, right now, the thing they'd hoped for had been clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Oshiromiya family would be given to the one who found the gold.
Kinzo has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice, the Golden Witch.
Father, I know you can hear me. Please respond. The door to Kinzo's study was being violently, harshly beaten against over
It's
and
real
over
as
again
fuck.
like a...
Yo.
It's real as fuck, yo. Like a percussion instrument. The yells coming from the other side belonged to Cross, Rudolph, and sometimes Eva. It was the siblings who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind the mysterious letter. Kinzo was eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that had adorned the table down in the dining hall was reproduced here. Kinzo continued his meal in silence. Shannon, taking away an empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being pounded on and Kinzo's face.
Everyone is calling for you, but what should I do?
Leave them. God and my meals both hold silence as virtue. Should I silence them? There's no need. It does not even reach my ears. Kinzo enjoyed his food, apparently indifferent. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Cannon, who stood in reserve like a shadow behind and to the side of Genji, opened his mouth. Maria apparently received a letter from Beatrice, so I imagine they want to test its authenticity. Has she started already then? Come, Beatrice. I have no shortage of coins to be wagered. Shall we enjoy this night to the fullest? I don't think I'll lose. Your smile will be mine for all eternity. If I could see it one more time, I wouldn't regret losing my wealth, my honor, or even my life. Well then, the roulette has begun to spin. Which pocket will the ball fall into? Noir, Rouge, or House Take It All? Come, you may begin, Beatrice. I'll show you the power of miracles once more.
Oh, desire. Yay.
Okay. I'm gonna save it here. I'm gonna save it here.
Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for listening to Spooky Game. Spooky visual novel.
It's a little more spooky now. A little more spooky. Yay. That went longer than I wanted to. Ugh.
I was having fun. But I gotta go. Because I'm getting EP and I want to decorate my house. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for stream. Thank you for coming.
We reached true spooky on Halloween.
Yes! Tomorrow it's gonna be really spooky and it's gonna be Halloween. Perfect. The timing is impeccable. Ippy. See ya. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you for coming. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow for Halloween hour. Goodbye. Ha. Bye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.